And welcome, it's Dan. Hope you're well today. So, one of the things that we're really guilty of is not really sharing enough about what we actually do as a digital agency and how that impacts clients and the kind of day-to-day thing. And so, one of the things I want to do is just shed a little bit more of a light and just run through a couple of things that we're actually doing this week, for example, to help clients. So, for example, across the board, we've got 4 new landing pages all being created. And so this is a mixture of different things. One of them, for example, is a free guide where you see the Facebook ad. I can't say what the business is, I'm afraid. You see the Facebook ad, you want the free guide because you want the knowledge contained within that free guide. You go to a landing page, which is the one we're creating, and then you put in your details. That then redirects to a booking page so that those people who want to actually jump on a call and book immediately, they can do that. And those others that don't want that, just want the guide, they just go and check their their email address. And so on one hand, it sounds really simple. 4 new landing pages, one per client, because we've got 4 different clients needing landing pages this week. And that's it. That's where it stops. And it doesn't stop there, and it shouldn't stop there. Because if all you're doing is creating a landing page and you're driving a Facebook ad to a landing page, the chances are that's probably not going to work. There's a whole system behind that has to be put in place in order to make that sales funnel, that marketing funnel, actually get the leads that you want. And so also, the people who actually go to the booking form and actually end up booking a call, they're very qualified leads. And so if you get people doing that, that's really good for the business, of course. And all those other people that don't do that, they go into what we call a nurturing email campaign. So yeah, they get the free guide that they've asked for. They have to go and check their email. And then they'll get a selection of emails, maybe 3 or 4 over the next 3 or 4 weeks, that's warming these folks up. And each one will ask them to then go and book a strategy call or a booking call or an appointment and so on. And so if you're there and you're like, oh, I'll just create a landing page, I'll get ChatGPT to create a landing page. It's like, no. Like, you can do that, but that's like, 5% of actually what needs to be in place. There's a whole psychology around it. And you need to put this in place. And this is one of the things that we're trying to explain to clients, is that you don't just run Facebook ads and you end up magically with thousands of leads that all want to buy. That's not how it works. Like, think about it for a second. If that was how it worked, then everybody would be multimillionaires. If, for example, in the diet industry, it was just eat less and move more, everybody would be super slim and super fit and all the rest of it. That obviously is not how it works. Even though, as a throwaway sentence, that does sound feasible, but it's not. There's a whole process that has to go into it. You have to create the landing pages. You have to create the customer funnel. There's a whole psychology on those landing pages. And when people are using things like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to create these landing pages, do you not think that, if you're a genius and you're asking Claude, you're coming down to the average of everybody else? And by the way, if you're not a genius, you're quite the opposite. It's going to raise your average to everybody else. But the fact that you're listening to this, for example, and the fact that you're even thinking about sales funnels and nurturing campaigns means that there's a good chance you're above the average. And if you're above the average and using average tools like Claude and ChatGPT, which are very, very clever, but it's going to pull you back down to the average. And that's why you're not converting, because you're using these tools. Like, these tools are amazing. But also, have you not realized how stupid these tools are as well? Sorry, Claude, I'm sure you're listening, and ChatGPT. We use them all day, every day. But some things they're really not good at. Some things they are good at, coming up with new ideas and all of that kind of thing. But you should be using your genius. You're given this brain for a reason, and you should be using this brain to really think about what is the sales process that you're about to implement. Anyway, so that's 4 new landing pages. That was an example of one of them, and useful to share that kind of thing, I think. This week as well, we've got 2 new Facebook ad clients coming on board. I mean, it's only Tuesday. We got 2 already. I've got an onboarding call in about 45 minutes. And then I've got another onboarding call on Thursday. So we've got 2 Facebook ads clients coming on board. And those onboarding calls are really to run them through how everything works. What are the timescales? When can they expect their first adverts? Usually 10 to 14 days. What access do we need to their Facebook ads page, for example? What if their Facebook ads page is a little bit broken, which does happen from time to time, quite regularly, in fact, because they've fiddled with it, or they've had another agency, which is usually a one-man band, and they don't know what they're doing, and they come in and they absolutely mess it up. And so when a new client onboards with us, we have a pre-onboarding document We have an onboarding form that people can give us as much information about their business, which really helps speed things up. And then they get to the onboarding call. And by the time they're on the onboarding call, they've already done a lot of the work that's needed of them, because they've already seen the pre-onboarding form. They've already seen the pre-onboarding guide. And when we get to that onboarding call itself, it's usually just a formality to introduce the team and all of that kind of thing. And then after that, a team can go where they already know what the headlines are going to be for the adverts. We can start creating both the physical adverts, not physical adverts, the virtual adverts, with our graphic designers and our copywriters and so on. And then we can start creating the button pushing on the actual Facebook ads account. And so that's how that works. When you sign up, you get onto an onboarding call, which then explains the entire process. Let me see what else. One client's ads were pulling in too many people. So they were recruiting franchisees, and they're actually pulling in too many franchisees. And so we had to actually slow that down a little bit. And we've actually moved the campaign over to bringing on clients instead, which is really awesome, by the way. Being flexible enough to be able to do that, because the processes that we've got in place means that the client can have faith in turning those adverts off, moving the campaign over to a different type of client, bringing those clients on as well, and then if necessary, moving it back over to a franchise type advert. So this is like a balancing act. You've got to bring on more people, and then you've got to bring on more clients, and then now you've got too many clients. Now you've got to bring on more people. Do you know what I mean? So this is how a lot of businesses should be growing. It's good organic growth. Not that it's overly organic, because there's some paid adverts going out there. And then just finally, one client pulled 98 leads in the last 4 weeks, far too many for him to be able to cope with. So we're actually working with him now to tighten up his qualification process so that he will actually get less volume. So instead of those 98 leads coming in again for the next 4 weeks, which he's not going to cope with, we actually get less leads, but we get better qualified leads. So he knows when a lead comes in, how much the budget is, when are they wanting to go ahead with the install for his type of business, which again, I can't say which type of business it is, I'm afraid. But getting that qualification in place is a great way, just slowing down those leads. And then he can pick and choose the best leads that he thinks are good, get on a call with those guys, and then book in those meetings so that he can then close a higher amount of income per lead. And that's what we got on this week. I mean, we've got a lot else going on, and we haven't got time to go through all of it. I'm rammed, just got back off holiday. We haven't got time to go through everything that we've got going on, but we have a lot going on. That's kind of like the headlines that I just wanted to share. So it gives people a bit of an idea as to what actually goes on behind the curtain, so to speak. Anyway, if you've got any questions, come and hit me up. Other than that, we'll catch up with you on the next one. My name's Dan Latto. Have a great day. Take care.